So this is the final project presentation, and what I have built is an agentic workflow that includes most of the technologies mentioned like the core Triggr and Kestra workflow. So what we can do is you will get a shiny option, but we can directly go to the dashboard. Once we go to the dashboard, we can create new workflow, or we can also choose one from our existing ones if they are present over there. But let's just create a new workflow. Now what we can create, what we get is this, which is found using React Flow, and what we can do is we can include multiple agents over here. For example, we can include an agent that can be, let's just say, webinar, and we can include these models over here. We can save the changes and we can connect these names together. Now what we can do is we can also have an API call. This API call, let's just call it weather API, will have a URL endpoint, and you need to make sure what this API is what this API has for the authentication. So it can be bearer, query, or custom header. And this weather API contains the parameter, so we are going to use that. And it's going to now we can save these changes, and in the end we can have the end node over there. Let's just keep it simple and save it as well. Once it's done, we can click on save over here, and this will be saved in a database. So even if we refresh it, it will still be over here. Now what we can do is we can preview our workflow, and we can initialize the agent, and what this agent will do is based on these workflow, it will create a configuration, and that configuration will be passed on to this AI model. For example, it will contain the API that we included in the weather, and it will take that API to answer our questions. So what we can do is we can ask it, so this is not a normal chatbot that I am using, which is calling the API, the external API, but it is something that is taking context from this weather API and giving us the answer. So if we look at the inspect panel, you can see that here we have the generated workflow configuration file that contains all the information about this. We have the API key, which is being passed to this chat panel. Now, this is one way we can interact with this, and we can close the preview. And what we can do is we can generate the code. This code is what the workflow is looking like, but in the code format, which we can then copy and include in our application. So let's just give it a little bit of time. So this is what it generated. If we copy it and look over here, then it does include the API call and the agent node that we have included in our workflow. Now what we can do is we can also form the Kestra YAML file. This YAML file will, we can open Kestra if you have the Discord configured over here, and we can also deploy and execute it. Once we do that, what we can see is these these workflow, for example Kestra that are included, and this is about the application, how it is automating the task and the creation of the workflow over here.